Hi everyone, I'm here again in the European Parliament, Strasbourg week, and a lot happens here in terms of the way the European Union makes rules, laws and regulations for the UK. But one of the important things that you also get to see is some of the words from those who are important in the hierarchy of the European Union, and one of those men is Michel Barnier. Now, Michel Barnier is the person who has been appointed by the European Council to undertake the negotiations with David Davis on Britain leaving the European Union. He is in charge of a team, a pretty large team, that has so far been negotiating backwards and forwards with David Davis's Department of exiting the European Union. And today he held a meeting here with members of the European Parliament. I think I was probably the only UK MEP there. There was a couple from Ireland. But the vast majority were MEPs who were interested about what he had to say. And to be fair to Mr. Barnier today, he was very frank, very open and very fair to those MEPs. To begin with, he made it clear that it is the EU's stance that they would prefer to have a Norway-style agreement with the European Union. I can understand that, because in the Norway style we accept their rules. We also have elements of immigration. We also have payments that have to be paid in. But he also admitted to the audience that it's the British preference to have an independent FTA, or one similar, in his words, along the lines of the Canadian agreement. Now it came to question time, and a lot of MEPs were asking lots of questions about what would happen, and two important points came out as well. The first was by a number of MEPs who sit on committees. One of the German MEPs raised the question about the transitional period and made it clear that they don't think a transitional period can work for the European Parliament or the Council. His reasonings were along this. So far, many of the committees have actually already budgeted to spend money in this committee's instance about space travel, space investment, and looking about the new technologies connected with that. They involved lots of companies in Europe. And the UK, he says, has committed to money now and in the future to being involved in that space programme. For him and his committee, having a transitional period will put that project in great danger, because there is no stability, no certainty. But more importantly, he cannot guarantee that he has the money to give it to European companies, i.e., he can't guarantee that Britain's money is going to go into the companies connected with that project, which are primarily European companies, although there may well be one or two UK companies involved in that. I then got a chance to ask him my question, because a number of MEPs had asked, why have you got a two-stage process? The process first, where you deal with Ireland, the citizens of Europe, and the bill, and once that is finished, then you start negotiating a free trade arrangement. Well, I asked them the question, well, you have a team that's large. The European Union already conducts business and enters into negotiations on free trade arrangements with other countries across the globe. They negotiate in different stages with those countries across the globe. So why is it not possible to have the organisation and strategy of a free trade arrangement with Britain alongside the four conditions that he's got? And the four illuminating answers that Michel Barnier gave were this. Firstly, he believed that he did not have the legal power to be able to negotiate the two agreements alongside each other, because he had been given the mandate by the Council only to deal with stage one first. The second point that he raised was that he didn't believe that there was enough trust in the European Parliament with the negotiating principle with Britain, i.e. Britain had to pay its bills in order for them to feel that they could enter into a negotiation. Thirdly, he felt it would be confusing to be able to have the different negotiations running alongside each other, because you needed to have a settled principle on the other issues. And there were other points that he raised with other members of the European Parliament as well. What is clear out there today is Michel Barnier has made it more open and clear about some of the conditions of why we are at the position we are with the European Union. To be fair with Michel, he thought that Britain was a great nation. It was very important strategically in terms of the way that we have trade with the European Union. It's a very valuable trading organisation, and they must have an agreement in place. He believed that Britain has a strategic importance in terms of security. The fact that it is a major power globally and also has nuclear weapons. It believes that it has a great future and that we may diverge from the European Union in some of our ideas. Though he thought dangerously if we moved economically away from the principles of the European Union, he didn't see that as a very good thing. But what is absolutely clear is that there is a very strong position of what he calls a social Europe, committed to almost an element of protectionism and looking after the interests of the European Union, and that he and Angela Merkel were firmly fitted together in saying that they will put the EU's interests above the UK's. My take on this is that if the UK was able to persuade the Council of 27 or other countries within there to see the sense of running a negotiated free trade arrangement alongside the 4 principles they want to seek, then that could be achieved, and we could move to a position where this process would end much more quickly. My take on it is this too, that the EU recognises that Britain has a competitive edge, otherwise they wouldn't be concerned about it. But my also recognition by those MEPs in there, and also by Barnier, is that they want to get this over and done with as soon as possible. For some, so that the European Union can move on, much more positively in the future as some of them see, but others to protect the interest of European Union businesses that would be a damaging impact of having a long, drawn-out negotiating period which would impact their businesses just as much as it would impact the UK's economy. There's a lot more going on, and today and tomorrow you will see from the State of the Union speech from Jean-Claude Juncker that this is going to run and run. But I think what we're seeing now is that there are those hotheads in the UK who feel that there is no negotiators here that are willing to ensure that Britain's leave the European Union are wrong. They do. They regret it, they prefer that we stay in, but they're moving to a position where we have to go and they need to ensure that it works smoothly. So I think those who still believe that they can keep us in the EU should have to get over it, because this place has gotten over it. They're moving on, and those people are now being left in the depths of history and on the wrong side of it. Thank you.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.